Kia ora, ko Smith-aho. Ngā mai ki te whare, welcome to the House. Parliament can be a kaleidoscope of emotion. It can be unexpectedly, often unintentionally, funny. It can be laudatory, joyful, bellicose and argumentative. And it is always brutally public.
Members, I've received a letter from the Right Honourable Chris Hipkins seeking to debate under Standing Order 399 the resignation of a Minister, the Honourable Andrew Bailey.
Before MPs got down to debating legislation this week, they set aside time to debate the resignation last week of National Party Minister Andrew Bailey. They did this under the rules for an urgent debate, something requested by the opposition, where an event occurs that is a ministerial responsibility and is serious enough to demand the House's attention. The person who made the request speaks first. In this case, that was Chris Hipkins, whose target was not so much the departed minister as the Prime Minister. First, though, a reminder that Andrew Bailey announced his own resignation with the stated cause being that he had, after an animated discussion, placed a hand on a staff member's upper arm.
That's the only account of what happened. What does the complaint say? Why won't the government be upfront about exactly what the complaint was that led to Andrew Bailey resigning? Has the Prime Minister asked him exactly what happened? The Prime Minister wouldn't even answer that. If he has asked him, what did Andrew Bailey say? Did the Prime Minister or anyone in his office speak to the person who had made the complaint? If they hadn't, why didn't they? It's a pretty serious allegation.
The Speaker, Jerry Brownlee, had alerted the House that this debate would occur an hour earlier prior to question time, and that gave MPs some chance to get their thoughts in order. For the National Party MPs to speak, it appeared that a staffer had prepared a number of pages of talking points that they could all rely on, and so the messaging was pretty consistent. Here's Chris Bishop with one of those.
A minister made a mistake, he owned up and took accountability for it, and he resigned. I mean, the matter is literally as simple as that. Over on this side of the House, we believe in ministerial accountability. Whether or not he resigned or was going to be sacked is actually not that material to the point.
And Simeon Brown with its flow on.
And Andrew Bailey has then subsequently resigned from his ministerial portfolios, which shows personal responsibility for his actions. Now, I've listened to the opposition leader try and find a conspiracy here. All he's been doing for the last 10 minutes is try to find a conspiracy. Well, the reality is, it's not. What this is called is personal responsibility.
Even with talking points, though, the short time frame can cause difficulties. For example, with more time to prepare his thoughts, Simeon Brown might have avoided sounding like he wanted to congratulate the resigned minister.
And that is something which I recognise, and all members of the National Party recognise, and we acknowledge Andrew Bailey for taking that action.
The second major response was comparative finger-pointing. For example,
in relation to Mecca Whaitiri, the incident was on 27th of August 2018. The Prime Minister was advised 2 days later, so very similar to what happened in relation to Mr Bailey's case. Ms Whaitiri stood aside a day later, but there was a month-long investigation before Ms Whaitiri was removed as a minister, and then of course a couple of years later she was actually reinstated.
As it happens, Chris Hipkins had touched on that case himself.
There was an incident where this happened before. An independent investigation took place, and the outcome of that investigation was shared with the public. And there were consequences for the minister concerned. Under this government, nothing.
MPs from ACT and New Zealand First tended towards a different message. Here's Mark Cameron from ACT.
Go out and talk to the real people outside. There's a novel idea. 50% of the people I talk to, it's the cost of living. Everything's too dear. Let's talk about the salient issues, not this.
Te Pāti Māori co-leader Debbie Ngarewa-Packer was not impressed.
And the politics of distraction is only used when things have to be covered up. We have a minister who touched a staff member's shoulder, and I do that often to my co-leader and our staff, and I don't see the reaction. So I think we need to first of all stop minimising what happened to one of our own in this building.
You've been listening to The House. E te whakaranga koe ki te whare. This program is produced with funding from Parliament's Office of the Clerk. Matua.